Hi, I'm going to go over some of the equipment I use when I make pizza to give you an idea of how I use them and go over all the different options. So when I'm making pizza, I'll do some videos on how to do the dough and how to do the different ingredients and stuff. But you start first by making the bread, or sorry, the dough part. So I've got this mixer here I use. If this is a Bosch. Now that uses this a lot to make bread. It has a dough hook in here that you use. And I really don't need the dough a lot in this though. So I just kind of get it mixed up and then I do the rest of the part making the dough just as I do like in my post on how to do the recipe. So it's mainly just to get it mixed together, and if you've got a lot of pizzas, say like 6 or more maybe, this is what I use. Another one I use is this KitchenAid my grandma got me for our wedding gift, and we've had this a long time, so I'll use the dough hook on that one as well. Use it for 3, maybe it would fit 4. I'm talking about 14-inch pizzas, so it might fit 3 or 4 of those. Now if you're going to do it by hand, you just get a big bowl like this. Now if I'm doing a really big number of pizzas, this bowl wouldn't cut it. I need an even bigger bowl than that. And then I just do it by hand, mix it up by hand if I'm doing that many pizzas. Another thing I use, this is I'm kind of going out of order now, but this is a metal peel. I use this to pull the pizza out of the oven. So when it's hot, I'll reach in the oven and pull it out. Now, another one I've got is this wooden one. I usually put the pizzas in with this one. I'll have it on the counter. I'll throw it on there and make the pizza on here, shake it a little bit to make sure it's not stuck on there, and then I'll slide it in to the oven with that. I suppose you could pull it out with this as well. It's easier to get underneath it with the thin metal one, so that's why I use the metal one. Now I've got, when I pull it out, I'll usually have these side by side like this, and I'll take the metal one and I'll slide it onto this, let it cool on here for a few minutes, and then just slide it off onto this big cutting board. Oh, I forgot my pizza wheel. And then of course just cut it up with the pizza wheel. Now, to back up a little, when I'm making the dough, I use a scale. This is a good scale because it has a big surface, so it's easy to weigh each individual dough ball. But I'll tend to put the bowl on there, use this, I don't know, tare, is that how it's pronounced? T-A-R-E function to reset the weight to 0, and then I'll add an ingredient at a time and just keep going until I've got everything in there that I need. The other big piece that I think, if you're going to start with something, I'd probably start with a baking still is what I recommend. Unless you've got something already, just use what you've got. But this baking still I've had for a while. It's a 1/4 inch. It's the brand is Baking Steel, and I usually just every once in a while throw a little oil on there like this, just to season it. If you put too much, it smokes a lot and kind of stinks up the house. But you just kind of lightly oil it like this, and we just keep this in the oven on the bottom rack. And It's good for making hearth style breads. Natalie uses it, puts the pies on there for a few minutes at the start so that it gets a nice bottom crust, especially those more wet pies like the fruit pies. Anyway, Natalie's mom, my mother-in-law, has a few of these that she just went to a place that cuts metal, and she had them cut a piece of metal like this. I don't know if that's food safe, but you could definitely put some aluminum foil on if it isn't, and just cook on the aluminum foil. You'd be okay. I think you'd be okay. Don't do some research and make sure that's okay. But I've done that before. A couple other things here. So I've got these pizza boxes. I just got these at a GFS. It's a food supply store or a restaurant supply. I'd get, well, the size of pizzas I can make are 14-inch on this. So the box is 14-inch. So it works great. I had smaller boxes and I just had to kind of force slices in there upside down and sideways to get them to fit. So it's just better to get the right size for the pizzas you're making. And then the last thing that I've got is these are proofing trays. They fit in a fridge. You'll see these sometimes at pizza restaurants, and they're bigger. But these are good for the home baker because they fit in the fridge. And don't put it on a hot stove. That's what I did there. But they are Dough-Mate, if you're looking that up. They've been really good. They're a pain to wash, but they just do the job really well. You could fit the size of pizzas I make, 3 dough balls in there at a time in each, so I got 6 there. And if I can't use these, don't want to use these, I just use gallon size Ziploc bags and put some oil in there. Just put those in the fridge. That does the trick. So I think that's it for equipment. If you got questions, just post them in the comments, and I'll post some more videos on how to make these or how to use this as I make pizza. And hopefully there's a lot of things you can do to adapt. So if you don't have this stuff, there's plenty of ways to go about doing it without it. So don't let it stop you. But this is what I use, so I know it works. And if you got questions, let me know. Thanks.